Sometimes projects, like life, is chance meets opportunity. I was in a local store and I found this. A yoga balance cushion. $4.99. This thing is great for your feet. You can sit on it. You can do all sorts of poses. I also thought this would be great as a balance board base. Cut out some wood, make it happen. Well, just so turns out, another chance meets opportunity. This is a skateboard I got for the wheels for another project. It's working out great. And I said, well, why don't I use this skateboard and put it on this yoga base and make myself a balance board? And this cost me about $15. One of the things I'm always trying to do is get a reasonable cost for everything. So I looked online trying to find this for $4.99, and the closest I could get is somewhere between $12 and $13. And I'll post a link down below. But what if you couldn't get this? Well, I've got some ideas. And here they are. So let's go to a top-down shot and I'll give you a little more details. There's a whole host of other things you can get for a couple bucks. And I want a variety. I want something that is small, something that's, different thicknesses that I can work with. Maybe put them together. Let me show you what the original design looks like and then we'll build off of that. And this is a great board. The deck is 31 inches by 7.5 inches, 9-ply maple low concave with a balance board or a rotation board, whether you're at your desk or whatever, is you get only unidirectional flow. But here you can go all the way. You can get every kind of direction you can think of. There's other options. Let's start with pool noodles. This one's fairly small, 2-incher with a little bit of edging on it. To strengthen it up a little bit is I just took a 1/2-inch piece of PVC pipe and slid it right in there like that. There's enough friction there to keep it in place. Depending on what the floor is. Carpeting is going to give you a little more spongy feel. Hardwood or tile, you might be able to get a little bit of rolling action out of it. Because there's a curve in the board, you have a tendency to be able to rock it back and forth, which I kind of like. That way, standing at your desk, you've got a non-skid surface here. You were wearing socks. This is just cloth hockey tape, and you could kind of lay some bands in here where you're going to typically put your sock feet. Most people use shoes or even barefoot. There's not enough friction on this non-skid tape to mess with you too much. And then I have another piece from another project. Slide it in there like that, and you can roll it like this. You could get a solid roller, you can make it out of PVC pipe or wood or whatever it is, but the concern I have is it's maybe too hard, too difficult for somebody that's new to a rocking board. But with this, and I'll show it a little later with my full weight on it, you can get all that great action coming out of here, but it's relatively safe because it doesn't move as much. The other great thing about this design is it's flexible enough that you can build up. For example, here is a regular pool noodle 5-petal flower design. You can put it under here. I've used this for quite a while. It really kind of pushes down because it's collapsing the center like that. In this case, you take some 3/4-inch PVC pipe instead of the 1/2-inch and slide it in there. It gives it just enough stability. You're not too comfortable with doing one, and you can see that the pedals kind of slow down the action a little bit from side to side. You can put 2 of those in place. Still get a nice little rock, but build up your balance to something like this. Foam roller. I'll post below where you can get pool noodles, but you can get them at Five Below. As the summer season starts winding down, you can get these really cheap. So that really gives you a possibility of some action. And you can move up to that. If you had 2 skateboards, you could actually cut this one in half right here, and you'd have 2 rollers. You could get a long board, you get a short board, you could really change it up and modify it pretty quickly on the fly. Maybe even these sided rollers are a little bit too much for some people and they're too tall. So I've come up with another idea where I just took some of this exercise foam. This is from another project. I carved out 2 pieces just using a straight box cutter. Got some of this. This is really great tape, by the way. Robert's double-sided carpet seam tape. It's fiberglass reinforced. And then I just took the 2x4, and this one is 9 inches, so it just hangs a little bit over the edge. You glue down one side, you peel that tape off, and I'm telling you, this is really sticky stuff. This is not typical carpet tape. And I use the soft side, line it up. So that gives you a certain level of comfort and stability to kind of work on your balance depending on what your situation is. You still get a little bit of rocking because of the curve of the skateboard, but it's a little more controlled and flat. And if you didn't want to make one of these, you could always use a yoga block. Now this means it gets a little higher, so it's 4 inches this way. It's under 3 inches. A little bit more, but it makes a big difference. Maybe you want to shift it up a little bit. I know some of the rollers, they have little edges on both sides, and maybe I'll do a follow-on video. But say you want to not have it symmetric straight down the middle, and this little logo here helps find the center of the board. And if you can't find the center of the board, you take like this straight edge, put it right there, boom. Maybe offset it. So you have to balance yourself out, you know, not in the center. It's a little bit of a different challenge. And you get the flexibility on this, unlike a lot of balance boards, by just switching it up. So for a couple bucks of bases and a $10 skateboard, I got a whole bunch of these skateboards, anywhere from $7 to $15. So let's take this on various floors and I'll show you how it looks on weight. So now it's time to test all these options on 2 different surfaces. A tile, which is also representative of a hardwood floor, and a carpeting area with a thin pad. So let's get started so we can figure out what works for you and what works for me. I come at this with no preconceived ideas, although this kind of is my favorite because that's what started this all off. So we'll put these guys to the side. Let's bring them out one at a time. Yoga pad. All right. Now it's interesting, the best places to put your feet, probably right where the mounts were. A lot of action on this one. Bend your knees. There you go. Now let's do it for the carpeting, a little more spongy, and it has a tendency to just be a little easier of a workout. But it's real fluid. It's like trying to balance on a ball. This is the 2-inch pool noodle with little edges on it, and it's got a PVC pipe on the inside. Okay, much better. Got a lot of action still, but it would be much easier to start with this guy than with the yoga pad. Yeah, it's even easier than the hardwood floor or the tile. So if you're starting out, probably carpeting of some sort and a smaller starting point. Okay, we'll try one of these big guys. All right, it's a little more spongy. It's a different feel, but it keeps you on your toes for sure. Go to the tile. And this one has the PVC pipe on the inside. There. Little balancing. Not easy at first. You could probably hold on to something if you're at a desk. You can imagine you're working at a computer, standing desk. A lot more stable. All right, so this is a combination of this, probably pretty similar. 2x4 with some exercise mat on it. Okay, now, for newbies or people who don't have a lot of balance to begin with, that flat surface set up by this 2x4 is the way to go. It really changes the whole situation. And then you can move up to different options. Let's try it on the carpeting. Not much different. And I guess if you put your hands on your knees like this, that helps too. So the last one, the yoga block. Now you can see that it's maybe twice as wide as this one. but it's a little higher. Ooh. All right, but very stable, very stable. That couple extra inches on the side by side makes all the difference in the world. I can actually stand up and do a little dancing. On the carpeting, that much easier because you got a little bit more give. Now I was just thinking, if you really wanted to start out basic, turn the yoga block like this. Yeah, pretty stable. Might be the starting point you're looking for right here. Now it's time to consider all the options and what we learned. First of all, a skateboard makes a great balance board. If you're going to start out, you want to start out small. Something like a wide yoga block. I'll post down below. 2 pool noodles together, even though I didn't show that, pretty much work the same as this block. So a little cheaper. You can get pool noodles towards the end of the season for a couple bucks. This 2x4 worked really well. It's a little shorter, kind of like this guy here, but it's wider than this guy, so it's a little more stabler than this. Now, and this guy put together is about like this guy. I didn't show you this one, but it gets a little dicey. And the reason why is because it gets high and you gotta balance a good bit. So this is probably for advanced. In fact, I would probably put it on the end. What started it all off, this yoga balance pad, is a lot harder than I initially thought. So if you're starting out, cheap-wise, this combination and this combination is probably the winner for you, or something like this. And then you can progress up. You could actually turn this like that, get it a little more dicey, more like this guy right here. And you can do it for under $10, or in my case, almost free, because I had all of this stuff already for different projects. Thumbs up and comments always appreciated. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in designs of all kinds, particularly sports gear, electronics, camera gear, making and breaking stuff, I also do costumes, cosplay, and props. Check out my channel and please subscribe, because you never know what you're gonna see.